Have you ever been so desperate for silence that you'd tear down your own walls to find it? I have. And what I found in the silence I craved was so much worse than the noise I was trying to escape. This isn't just a ghost story. It's a story about a sound. It was 2008. I was a writer with a looming deadline, and the city noise was killing my focus. I needed to escape. So I rented my grandfather's old house, a relic sitting alone in the middle of nowhere. For the first few days, the deep foundational quiet was bliss. I was finally working. Then, one night, I heard it. A faint, steady, mechanical ticking. Tick, tock, tick, tock. It sounded like a metronome. I searched the house, checked every room, every faucet. Nothing. I dismissed it as the quirks of an old house and went to bed. But it didn't stop. The next night, it was back. And the night after that. A constant companion just at the edge of my hearing. It began to fray my nerves, breaking the rhythm of my writing, replacing it with its own maddening beat. I tried to fight it. I blasted music through headphones, stuffed foam earplugs in my ears. But nothing worked. The sound cut through everything, as if it was coming from inside my own head. The mystery was becoming a horror. This wasn't just a sound. It felt intentional. One night, the rhythm hitched for just a second. Tick, tock, tick, tock, before correcting itself. That tiny imperfection terrified me. It felt alive. My work stopped. My search for the sound became a frantic obsession. I bought a stethoscope, pressing it against every inch of the house. The sound was loudest in the upstairs hallway, seemingly coming from a solid plaster wall. My sanity began to fray. I started talking to it, whispering to the empty hall. "What do you want?" The only answer was that incessant tick. Tock. One night, I snapped. "Leave me alone!" I screamed, hurling a book at the wall. And the ticking stopped. The silence was a physical relief, so profound it made my knees weak. It was over. It was just my own stress. I stood there for a full hour, soaking in the quiet. Then I sat at my desk, ready to work. And then, a single, loud, deliberate tock, seemingly right beside my ear. It resumed immediately, but faster now, angrier. It was mocking me. That was the breaking point. A memory surfaced. My grandmother, a stern piano teacher, and her metronome, a pendulum of judgment. The thought, as insane as it was, that this was her ghost, sent me to the attic. I tore through old trunks until I found it. Not the metronome, but its empty, worn-out box. It had been real. That was all the proof I needed. I grabbed a hammer and a crowbar and went back to the hallway. I didn't care about the damage. I had to find it. I tore into the wall, ripping away plaster and lath, driven by a desperate rage. Beneath the first layer, I found something that made my blood run cold. An older, hidden wallpaper covered in hundreds of tiny vertical scratches, a tally, and scrawled in faded pencil the words, "It never stops." I wasn't the first. With a final guttural yell, I smashed through the wall completely. Flashlight beam cutting through the dust, I peered inside, and I saw it. Not a ghost, not a machine. It was a single frayed electrical wire, hanging loose and touching a metal water pipe. The house's old current was causing a small rhythmic arc. A faint electrical zap. I stood there covered in dust, hammer in hand, and I started to laugh. A wild, unhinged laugh that cracked into a sob. The mystery was solved. But the horror was just beginning, because the sound was never the problem. The problem was me. My own fear of failure, my stress, my memories. I had taken a meaningless noise and built a cathedral of dread around it. I fed it my fear until it became a monster. I cut the power to the house. The ticking stopped. And in that perfect, absolute silence I had fought so hard for, I had never felt more alone or more terrified. I learned something in that house. The real monsters aren't the ones that hide in the shadows. They're the ones we build in our own minds, brick by brick, fear by fear, until the prison is so perfect, we forget we were the ones who built it.